Hello, this video will be a comprehensive update concerning USI-Tech and also the TechCoin, which has been marketed by USI-Tech until April 2018. We've had significant developments in both of these areas concerning both USI-Tech as well as the TechCoin in the past month and the past several weeks, and so the timing of this video is very, very important. We urge you to watch it thoroughly. There has been a lot of misinformation, a lot of lack of communication, and a lot of important recent developments that concern a lot of people's money and assets and businesses and livelihoods. And so we trust that this update, as comprehensive as it will be of great use to many of you. Before we go further, this presentation has been prepared solely for informational purposes. It is not an offer to buy or sell or a solicitation of an offer to buy or sell any security, product, service, or investment, nor is it intending to provide financial, tax, legal, or accounting advice. Placements in the crypto markets should be considered high-risk placements. There is no recommendation in this presentation to purchase any product, service, security, or investment. The opinions expressed in this presentation do not constitute advice. Independent advice should be sought from a suitable qualified professional relative to your personal circumstances. All persons reviewing this information take their own responsibility to verify its accuracy and its relevance to their personal circumstances. Each person also is responsible to determine the legal and regulatory status in any jurisdiction that is relevant to their circumstances. That having been said, let's go through what our agenda is about. First, we are going to do an update on the TechCoin. Secondly, we are going to cover USI-Tech developments. Third, we are going to address recent updates and information that has come to light. And fourth, we are going to talk about the current status. So without further ado, let's go to the situation about the TechCoin. On April the 20th, USI-Tech announced that the TechCoin sales would be ended, and it would be transferring all information about those people within USI-Tech who own TechCoin to the TechCoin. Now, note here, it's very important. There were two groups of people within USI-Tech who had TechCoin tokens. First, everybody that bought TechCoin packages, and we'll talk about that in a second, are affected. But also, please remember that anyone that bought a BTC package from USI-Tech after November the 1st got free tokens. So virtually all USI-Tech members, at least those who bought packs after November 1st, would be affected by all developments concerning the TechCoin. USI-Tech also announced at that time on April the 20th that all ownership information as to which USI members had TechCoins had been transferred or would be transferred from USI to the TechCoin, and the TechCoin would handle all further issues. Now, there's a couple of things that come to light that are important about this announcement. First, although the details still are not clear, we've asked, and USI-Tech has made some confusing representations about its involvement with the TechCoin. It appears that the TechCoin has separate ownership from USI-Tech. Many people thought that USI-Tech owned the TechCoin. It appears that they did not or don't, although we don't know exactly who does own the TechCoin, to our best knowledge. And it appears that USI was merely the exclusive sales agent of the TechCoin. And if you think back about some of the things that we were told, the TechCoin was a project that had begun actually before USI was formed. However, it was presented by USI as though it was the USI Tech Coin. So it was somewhat confusing and perhaps even misleading. But basically, since sales have stopped shortly after bonus 2 of the 4 bonuses, and we'll go through that in a second, what was also announced is that the 3rd and 4th bonuses would not be granted. This has a significant impact on a lot of people, particularly those that bought larger packages. And when I say significant, it has a major economic negative impact. Also, they announced that TechCoin will not have an ICO. That ICO had originally been announced for May, more or less, 2018, and will now not take place. The TechCoin management and support will contact all TechCoin token holders during the month of May, according to the information. The TechCoin company or project says that it has a marketplace and that it has an exchange for the TechCoin. The symbol for the TechCoin, they tell us, is TCI. The marketplace, not many details were given about it, but it appears to be a place where you could use TechCoins to buy certain products and services. And so, again, details remain to be given, but they are attempting to give some value to the TechCoin through this. The exchange, as they indicate, should have Bitcoin, Ethereum, TechCoin, and fiat currencies, where those could be exchanged in the internal market. No indication when and if the TechCoin could be put on external exchanges. That's an internal exchange for TechCoin and for the TCI already. And, a lot of speculation as to when, if, and whether ever the TechCoin could make it on other external exchanges. But that's what we know so far. Now, this is the details of that. Basically, just in simple terms, announcing that all sales by USI were being finished. You can see there in the middle, they said, in the light of these decisions, we have decided to terminate all token sales and move to a market available model as soon as possible. So USI will cease immediately on the release of this update. So there'll be no more sales of TechCoin tokens. They also announce here that there will be no third or fourth bonus because the sales targets to grant those bonuses were not achieved. And they also announce that all the information about USI members holding TechCoins tokens would be transferred to TechCoin and TechCoin. So they say stay tuned for more updates on the project, and the TechCoin support team will be in contact with us. So that's the news. I would say from this, what a lot of people were shocked about is they shattered the impression that USI and the TechCoin are the same thing. They appear not to be. We don't know who actually the owners are of the TechCoin. We don't know their plans. We've seen the development teams change several times. We've seen the makeup of the TechCoin change dramatically in some fashions from the way it was presented in London at the end of October 2017 until today. Leading people who were supposed to be involved appear no longer to be involved. Development teams have changed several times. There are many, many issues with respect to the TechCoin, but it is also clear that they appear to be making some attempts to provide some value to raise the value of the TechCoin. So it's in everyone's interest who is a TechCoin holder to hope that they can achieve that. If not, all the funds that were invested purchasing these tokens would be at risk, obviously. Now, let's go over some of the situation. Now, from the London conference, TechCoin token packages were announced and were made available. There were 5 different packages that you could purchase, ranging from 50 euros up to 50,000 euros. You can see that in the price. There were silver, gold, ruby, emerald, and diamond packages available, and they varied depending on when you bought them. I'm going to talk about each of them, but basically you can see in the presentation that there's a first bonus token time where if you bought your tokens during that time, you got some bonuses if you bought gold, ruby, emerald, or diamond. And the same would be if you bought a package during the second bonus, the third bonus, and the fourth bonus. So this would have been what you were presented at the time of London, probably through most of the month of November. I don't recall exactly when the first bonus was reached, the sales of 125 million, but it took place, I believe, if I recall well, in about 3 weeks. So that was very fast in November, and then the second bonus period ran until the end of December, more or less, when that one was filled. I believe the date was December 21st, if I'm not mistaken. So that would have been what you saw at that time. So, for example, if you bought an emerald pack or a diamond package during that period, as you can see from the charts, your emerald package, you would have expected from a purchase of 25,000 euros to get 400,000, because we all expected that all the bonus, there would be enough sales of these And a diamond package, if you bought it for 50,000 euros, you expected to get 1.6 million tokens. As I will show you in just a minute, because the third and the fourth bonuses are not being granted, in fact, all those figures have been corrected. And so the maximum that you will get from a package with the bonuses, silver and gold would not have been affected. Ruby, you will get a maximum of 80,000, the same as before. Emerald, you would get a maximum of 200,000, and diamond, you would get a maximum of 400,000. I'll show you how that works in just 1 second. But this is a fairly dramatic reduction or failure to achieve the bonuses that were planned. Now, if you had bought your tokens after the first bonus period had been achieved, so if you were buying it probably from the third week of November through the end of December, this is the way the situation looked at the time for you. So you would have bought, perhaps, again, not affected much by a silver or gold package, but ruby, emerald, and diamond packages would be significantly affected by these results because, again, all bonuses in that third and fourth, the final two columns, will now not be granted. So if you bought, for example, a diamond package for 50,000 euros in the last week of November or during the month of December with the expectation that you would get 800,000 tokens because you could get several bonuses in the last two periods, you will not get the last two. So your purchase of 50,000 euros now will get you only 200,000 units, not 800,000. So you can see a pretty significant effect. So let's look at the impact now that we know that the third and fourth bonuses are not. And I put the word canceled in here to show you, you can see where things have been affected. So if you were in the first group of purchasers, you would be fine if you had purchased silver or gold or ruby, because your bonuses, if any, would have been granted in the first and second periods. That's fine. But if you bought an emerald pack back in the beginning or a diamond pack back in the beginning, the last two bonuses have been canceled, and you can see that your total figure would be for emerald 200,000 maximum, and for diamond, these people are really disappointed. They expected to get 1.6 million. They're going to end up getting 400,000. So there are a lot of unhappy people as a result of this cancellation of the sales. But obviously, sales have just completely stopped of the TechCoin. So that's the reality, and the bonuses, the bonus sales amounts have not been achieved. Now, if you bought your packages in the second period, that is to say, probably according to my recollection, the last week of November through to the end of December or early into January, then your bonuses, the third and fourth bonuses, have not been achieved, and so you would have, if you had bought a ruby package during that time, your second bonus that would have increased you to 80,000 has been canceled. If you bought an emerald package, your third, what you would have been your second bonus but was in the third bonus period has been canceled. So you'll end up with 100,000. And if you bought a diamond package in that time period, expecting to get 800,000, you are going to end up with 200,000. So that's the consequences of this decision. A lot of disappointed people. Of course, there's haters out there who want to kill the TechCoin, call it a scam and whatever. And one hopes that they would be sensitive to the fact that if they're going to kill the TechCoin, that they are killing any possibility that people have purchased these things. The people that they call victims, they're also killing the possibility that they would get money. But all of it depends really on the market and whether the TechCoin owners and management can come up with a viable product that actually shows some value, and then we'll see what the market does. But it would be, I think, important for everybody to realize that people have significant purchases that they made here, and for no fault of their own, those people now have those at risk, and one hopes that they can get some return. This is how you keep up to date with TechCoin updates. We are not clear if USI will issue any further TechCoin updates because it looks like they are finished with the TechCoin. So watch for emails from TechCoin itself at your USI-Tech registered email address, because USI would have sent that to the TechCoin management, and obviously check the TechCoin web address. And they will ask you to register so that you can become a member and be kept available for all information, kept informed, and you can follow that at tech-coin.io. That's the website. Just visit that regularly or watch for updates around to keep up to date. All right, let's move on to USI-Tech and catch up on the developments there. There's some that are well known and others where there's FUD, misconfusion. I think there's been a lot of things that affected USI-Tech, and let's get those out on the table because it's not been talked about honestly, transparently, and there's so much misinformation and false information out there, as well as a lack of comprehension. So let's talk about it. Company strategy shifted to mining after London in terms of how to fund the BTC packages, and they were underway to work on that. Then suddenly on December the 20th, Texas, the SEC Commission in Texas issued a cease and desist, and that fundamentally changed the trajectory. It killed the TechCoin, and it killed USI-Tech for all practical purposes. People may say that it was going to be killed anyway, but that was certainly accelerated, if not anything else, by the cease and desist order. Sales started to shift, people started to get nervous, it started to affect things, and that was made manifest 2 weeks later by the unannounced and sudden and immediate termination on January 5 of all USA and Canadian affiliates, as it began to become clear that the SEC issues and the marketing. Now, USI blamed it on bad marketing by USA affiliates, but in fact, their own website was actually part of the problem, and their own lack of compliance was part of the problem. They did not take responsibility for any of the issues, nor did they make any admission that those orders also covered USI-Tech. But the other thing that we saw, of course, starting in January and particularly in February and March, was a massive, massive drop in the Bitcoin. And what has come out, some information, there's been some admission, not very publicly, by USI-Tech that they had some trades that were underway that turned out to be unprofitable. And that would not be a surprise. We don't know that for sure, but that would not be a surprise given that Bitcoin altcoin trading became extremely difficult in a bear market, and a lot of people did lose a lot of money. So it wouldn't be surprising if that happened and contributed to the major situation. There were massive drops in sales of both the BTC packages and also the TechCoin, not least of which because of the stop of sales in the United States, but also knock-on effects in the rest of the world. This all led to February 24th, the announcement from USI-Tech, again a shock to a lot of people, but kind of the logical consequence of what we're seeing here, the announcement that the BTC Pack 1.0 would be ended and they would be launching BTC Pack 2.0. They said that would take place pretty quickly. In fact, it took 6 weeks. And so finally, on April the 9th, there was an announcement that the migration, as they called it, was finished. Now, let's focus on USA and Canada issues. There are some things here that I think is important for people to understand that affected the whole company, but massively affected people in the United States and Canada. So let's go back and remember that on December the 20th, the Texas Securities Commission issued a cease and desist that covered not only 2 individual distributors, but it also covered USI-Tech, even though USI-Tech denied that it covered USI-Tech. As a consequence of that, USI-Tech, as I mentioned before, issued on January 5 an immediate termination of all USA and Canada affiliates. That's had a major impact on the business, was a shock, and people really felt as though their packs and their business had been stripped away from them with no warning. Now, USI continued during this time to say that its lawyers were engaged in defending the company, and also asserting that it had no SEC issues itself. That was not correct. We have come to find out later that USI-Tech appears not to have defended itself in either Texas or in North Carolina. We know that in North Carolina that a cease and desist was issued against USI-Tech in February 2018, and USI-Tech did not defend it, and a default permanent cease and desist was issued in March. The same thing happened in Texas. Perhaps it's happened in other places and we don't know about it. However, USI-Tech said publicly that its lawyers were engaged, but it appears that engaged just meant that USI talked to its lawyers. It doesn't mean that its lawyers engaged with the regulatory authorities. And so this was somewhat misleading and somewhat concerning that USI-Tech was not open and transparent about defending itself and also the distributors in the US markets, and we don't know about other markets. But I think this is important that people realize. Strange thing also, during this time, USI-Tech made an announcement that USA and Canada were back. And then on April the 1st, I don't know if it was an April Fool's joke or quite what it was, but they then again terminated the USA and Canada affiliates again, and also at that time ended customer purchases. And this appears to be something that changed how people in the USA and Canada were being paid. In particular, since April the 1st, in the repayment process we'll talk about in a second, USA and Canadian affiliates are no longer being repaid the commissions that they earned. So this has had a particular impact on the USA and Canada. Now let's catch up on some of the other updates because we've learned more information in the meantime, and we'll give you some detailed instruction and supplement an update that we did on April the 15th. There has been a recent meeting of leaders. This has been now made public, but about 10 days ago, the top 100 USI-Tech leaders were invited to a meeting in Bangkok, Thailand, by another company. There's some misleading information about that it was a meeting with USI-Tech corporate. Actually, it was a meeting where another company was making an offer to the top USI-Tech leadership. But those leaders took the opportunity, about 60 of them gathered there, paying their own way, by the way, at their own expense, to understand what was going on. There was a significant discussion about USI-Tech as well as consideration of the offer that they were being given. And so we've learned a lot of things about the major issues. We've learned how and why USI-Tech is still here. We have learned where USI-Tech is today. As much as is possible is known by the top affiliates. We know some of the timeline and the math for the repayments and what's going on in the meantime. So as we've learned from USI-Tech, there were some major glitches in the USI system. That was the thing they stressed. But that, coupled with poor management, led to the issues that we now all face as USI-Tech members. Basically, the system, this is what was asserted by USI-Tech, although they didn't admit that they had a system problem, but the system allowed too much BTC to be extracted in a short period of time. This was largely due to the allowance of partner rebuys and stacked accounts. Partner rebuys they had allowed, and then they came back and criticized it even though they had allowed it in the system and their software allowed it. And stacked accounts, they had originally allowed stacked accounts during a certain period of time for several months during the summer of 2017. It was outlawed. It was then allowed again. So this is a practice that the company had flip-flopped about, but a lot of people were either grandfathered in or were allowed to do it, and people did do it. So what is disconcerting about all this is that the company accused top earners and many others who were not top earners of wrongdoing. But in fact, it produced no evidence that most were doing anything except practices that were allowed, including partner rebuys and a certain amount of stacking. Now, were all people doing stacking in a proper way? We don't know, but there's been no public communication or communication that made that definite. What is clear is that there have been terrible communication, there's been poor support from the company, poor communication, a lack of transparency, considerable lack of member understanding about the business. Also, poor marketing practices by members, linked with a lack of compliance by USI-Tech. That has affected the business a lot. The US SEC issues have had a massive impact. The fall of the Bitcoin appears to have had an impact. There's been a change of business strategy focusing on mining and a massive amount of money put by the company into mining. It's fair to say that the greatest FUD that we've ever seen in relation to a company online has been used to attack the company, and this has certainly been an impediment to the company's growth as well. All these things have put USI-Tech in the situation that it is today. So where does that leave us? Well, we now have some further updates as a result of communication amongst the top leaders and some additional updates and so forth that we have. So let's clarify that. We covered some of this in our April 15th update, but just to remind you, USI-Tech says that they're committed to paying back each and every member. They can't commit to a time scale because there are so many variables in the mining. They invested massively in the mining. However, what we are told is that they have secured and purchased more petahash, up to 550 petahash. It is at 130 now. As of April 28th, they had said that there would be an additional increase in April, and they have at least they have 2 more days, but they haven't told us that they've increased the petahash yet. So they may be behind schedule, we don't know. But the extra capacity, if they follow the schedule, and we don't know if they will, it should be up in force and ready by the end of July 2018. The earlier projection apparently was June 2018. But that will, in any event, accelerate the returns. So this was the announcement, as you recall, on April the 9th, where they said that the data migration was finished. They've also made it possible. Before it was very awkward. You had to manually transfer money from a page that was not on the front page, and people were very confused by it. Now, as balances increase, that's done automatically, so that's a further thing. And they talked a little bit about mining, some of the electricity costs, and what they expect here. But we've covered that in the earlier update. I'll give you the link to that in just a second. So here's what we know about the packs. Your packs now are crystallized. If you haven't seen that, we still run into people that think they have no pack and their money's been stolen. That is not true. Your BTC packs have been crystallized, and they should now show at least your regular BTC seed money minus any withdrawals that you made in your back office. So all packs, according to the company, will be paid up to 100%. They will not be paid 140% as promised. That is a problem. Many people are upset by that, but most people are glad to be getting repaid up to 100% at least. Where you compounded from your daily earnings, please understand that if you compounded for your first 5 months, the way the numbers run, if you were compounding and then repurchasing, you basically didn't add any additional money to your repurchasing because you hadn't been able to take advantage of using repurchases from profits. So your first 5, if you remember, a pack runs for about 7 or 8 months. The first 5 months approximately would get you back your 100%. So unless your packs had run for more than 5 months, you really didn't earn any profits. And so the amount you get back will be the same that you put in. That's what this is trying to tell you. So unless you'd been compounding for at least 5 months, and then you started to use some of your 40% profit element of your pack, it would be unlikely that you would see any more Bitcoin being owed to you except what you originally put in. Now we know the final situation also now with respect to commissions. Commissions are being crystallized on the BTC Pack 1.0. They should be in your back office and they should be paid out. They're in a separate category, but they are agglomerated or combined with your BTC Pack earnings, unless you're in either the United States or Canada. It appears that USI has determined that it will not repay commissions earned in the USA or Canada. It has not explained why it has taken that, But from all examples that we've seen, people in the United States and Canada are no longer getting repaid commissions, despite the fact that they earned those before they were terminated. So this appears to be a taking of money that had already been paid to members, and does appear to be controversial, to say the least. This is the illustration of how they explained the situation. So if you have had a BTC package before February 24th that had reached over 100%, it was reset back to its original amount. If you had a package that had not yet reached 100%, then you would get back whatever had not been repaid to you. So that was the basic overview of how it was being done. A lot of people were confused. You have to look in the right place. So many people were looking just on the front page. They still do. They see 0 there, and they say, oh my God, my money's been stolen. Well, that's the wrong place to look. So you need to click, see where the arrow is, and it says My Dashboard. You click on My Dashboard, and there's a separate 1.0 section. The good news now is that if you click in your back office and you click on your wallet, you will find that the wallet will tell you if you have any money that you can withdraw. And I'll explain to you in just a second how often that might occur. Now, here's the bottom line on all this. And this is a non-binding projection. It's just our best estimate based on discussions that we've had with a number of other leaders and extensive discussions. USI-Tech promised to give everybody a complete explanation about their back office. They've put information in our back office, but they haven't really explained how they did it all. However, if they keep their promises and their projections, the Bitcoin mining that is primarily now funding the repayment of BTC Pack 1.0 will increase from the current 130 petahash to 150 petahash in June 2018. That's what they've said. It might be July 2018, but it appears they're reasonably sticking to this time frame. Some people looking at that project based on the numbers and an expected return at 550 petahash that it will take somewhere between 8 to 12 months from June, July to repay all arrearages. I've had some people say that they think that's a little bit faster than they would expect, other people slower. What is clear is that it's not going to take 20 years. It's not going to take 5 years. It might take a year or a year and a half. But now let's try to break it down for you depending on the size of your packages. So people are making withdrawals. There are withdrawals being made, and it depends. How often depends on the size of their account. So let's talk about that. People with very large accounts currently get enough money to withdraw every 7 to 14 days. I mean, huge accounts would maybe have every 3 or 4 or 5 days if they just have withdrawals and not new commissions or new sales. But once a week, once every 2 weeks, something like that. Medium-sized accounts, and this could be, perhaps with 1,000 packs or so, currently get enough to withdraw about every 15 to 30 days, so every 2 weeks to 4 weeks. If you've got a small account, and I'm not talking about one BTC pack, but small, 100 or below, you currently get enough only to withdraw about once every 1 to 3 months. And this is where probably a majority of people are, and why there's so much concern and feeling of grief and betrayal and theft, some people call it. And it's just frustratingly slow to get your money back. But do please try to understand that it's because of the amount. All the accounts are being treated equally. They're all being treated equally poorly, but they all are being treated equally in terms of at least the company doing its best to try to pay things back. And we'll talk about that in just a second, because some people are wondering why the company just doesn't pay it back all in one big lump. So let's get to that issue as well. But if you want to know more in detail how to withdraw your funds, we did an update. You can look it up on YouTube. It's called How to Withdraw Funds from USI-Tech, April 15, 2018 update. That's the YouTube address for it, so you can copy that down or look it up, do a search on YouTube, and you can find that. That will give you in detail how to get your balance back from your USI-Tech back office. Now let's talk about the current status and wrap things up here. All right, so contrary to some of the FUD out there, some of the negativity, there would be no USI-Tech today if the top leaders had not contributed. Now that's a shock to a lot of people. Some people don't believe it. You can believe it or not, but it is true. The top 100 leaders were asked by other leaders to contribute to the company because it had been made clear to the top leadership that USI-Tech could not pay, that it had overestimated the economic situation. It had invested, in a sense, too much money in mining and had no money left to pay back members. So unless there was a rescue of the company, and that rescue could come from external investors or from internal investors, and it was basically internal investors, I would say the top leaders of the company, the top 100 leaders, who volunteered to contribute very substantial sums of money. It appears that upwards of $150 to $200 million were contributed by top leaders. Now, you'll hear that these people have scammed the other members. You will hear that they have gone off and profited themselves. You'll hear a lot of things. What you will never hear some of the haters tell you is that there would be no USI-Tech. Nobody would be getting repaid if the top leaders had not contributed. That saved the company, and that's the honest truth that needs to be put out there, and people need to understand that. All you hear about is complaining that people don't get their money back, but the BTC paid by the top 100 saved the company. And the company has given no accounting whatsoever to those top 100 leaders as to what's been done with their money. But they believe in good faith that the repayments being made today are being enabled because of the contributions that they make. And in some cases, some of the top 50 leaders put in huge amounts of money. And they also contributed their entire back offices, in other words, all of their packs and all of their earnings as well. So there should be more understanding about this out in the marketplace. But let's move on from that. For the BTC Pack 2.0, it appears that the BCT SPACs are slow, but they are steady. They're expected to need to go into 2019, as I said already. For commissions, people are being repaid commissions on the same schedule as they are being repaid packs, except, as I said, for the USA and Canada, where for some arbitrary and undisclosed reason, the USA and Canada are no longer being repaid their commissions. On the TechCoin, we now know that there will be no third and fourth bonuses, and all handling of the TechCoin is shifting from USI-Tech to the TechCoin owners. And they're, again, coming from the recent leadership gathering and everything, the complete lack of communication from the owners to the field, there appears little interest whatsoever, apparently, from USI-Tech owners to do more than continue to pay back slowly the BTC Pack from the mining investments that they made, and perhaps to sell some BTC Pack 2.0. So that's the current situation with USI-Tech and the TechCoin. Now, some people need to move on with life. They can see this schedule. There's no business here that is possible to promote. There's no interest in the owners, apparently, in developing the business. It appears that USI-Tech is in the situation where all they care about is paying back members. That is something that you would not find very often, and credit should be given to the company. But of course, people are upset by the lack of transparency, some of the misinformation, some of the misleading information, some of the poor management. But there are, as I've also said here, a number of external factors. Be that as it may, it's become clear to many of the people who would like to have a business online involving cryptocurrency that a change needed to be made. So there's a fork in the road. What is affecting that? Well, in the United States, in particular, it's heavily affected by regulatory issues, especially securities. In order to be compliant in the USA and other jurisdictions with other securities regulations, you need to not send funds to a company. And there's basically two options typically out there in the marketplace. Some companies are offering to mine for you, and some companies are offering to trade for you. If you send money to a company for it to mine for you or to trade for you, it is clear since December 2017 that various state and federal SEC authorities consider that to be the offering of an unregistered security. The company is asking you to market or to purchase an unregistered security, and that is not compliant. So that applies whether it's a mining company or a trading company. If you trade in your own account and don't share money in some way, or if you mine with your own equipment, that might be a different matter. But any business opportunity that doesn't meet those requirements is not compliant in the United States and other jurisdictions with other similar securities regulations. So there have been, and this comes as a result of updates from USI-Tech leader meetings. Many USI leaders in the USA are using an automated trading software where your funds stay in your own exchange account. That solves the issues of control, where you don't have to give money to someone else. You keep it in your own account, and you simply have a software that does trading for you in your own account. It also answers the compliance issues, because there's no sending money to a company for it to trade and mine together with other people and send money back to you. So there's no security issue involved. That is why in the United States this kind of business is attracting many of the USI-Tech leaders who are based in the United States. That business also, of course, is available globally. As a result of this meeting in Bangkok, many USI leaders outside the USA have been responding to a special offer which is made good through May 31st and is time sensitive. That offer is not available in the United States because that offer would not be compliant with USA security laws, and the company has decided to leave out the United States. Now, you will see some people making mention of this offer. There have been a few videos that appeared and then had to be taken out because they were not compliant with those offers. I saw one in particular that was a violation, apparently, of U.S. securities laws, because a certain gentleman was indicating to people in the United States that he had a solution where they could pool together their money to take a position in the company outside the United States and circumvent U.S. securities laws. So the offer that he was making was a violation of the securities laws, and the solution would be seen very seriously by regulatory authorities as a circumvention of securities laws. So I would heartily recommend to anybody who's considering that offer, if you are in the United States, you simply cannot consider that offer. It is not available in the United States, and if you try to play games with the SEC, the people that are trying to play games with the SEC or circumvent that are looking for trouble. So we would recommend then that you look for one of these compliance solutions. We are involved in a compliance solution involving automated trading software where we've been using funds in our own account that meets that, and we would be happy to provide any information to someone that might be interested in that. We do have access outside of the United States to the other offer, so if you're interested in that and you are outside the United States interested in an offer, it does have the downside of you needing to give your funds to a company. So the advantage of using automated trading software is that you keep your own funds in your own account. But some people are attracted to that offer, to that kind of business, where you look at a very attractive economic solution where somebody does the work for you. But all that to say, we have reached a fork in the road. The USI-Tech business doesn't appear to have support from many, if any, of the leading USI-Tech leaders anymore. It doesn't appear that the USI-Tech management is interested in promoting the business other than wrapping it up, and kudos to them for doing it in the best way possible. This update has made clear to you that there would not be reimbursement at all, probably, unless USI-Tech top leaders had contributed to that solution, We can thank the USI-Tech management, although it's hard to feel emotionally soft about them. I understand that. We all understand that. But they are apparently trying to do the right thing because they have invested in a massive mining operation. 550 petahash is a massive mining operation, and once it gets up and running, it will be capable of paying this off. It will certainly take probably a year from the time that they get it fully in place. So no one should look for complete repayment, but you can anticipate in the second half of 2018, you will start to be able to feel that some of your money is coming back to you. And it will come in dribs and drabs, but it will come back, provided that they continue on that schedule. For those that are interested in moving forward, it appears extremely unlikely that you could move forward with USI-Tech at this point. So if you want a business that you can market in the United States and around the world, we've shown you what the alternative is here. If you are outside the United States and you want to steer clear of the United States because it's a regulatory landmine, that's also understandable, and you could check with your uplines and your leaders in USI-Tech. Many of them are participating in this special offer through May 31st. We would be happy to talk with any of you who are interested in either of those two alternatives, and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. I trust that this update, comprehensive and detailed as it is instructive for you. Sorry if it pops your bubbles. Sorry if it is too much reality for you, but we wanted to be as transparent as we could based on the information that has come available to us over the last period of time. We're always happy to take questions. Do let us know, and we thank you for your attention.